Welcome, everybody. My name's Susan McCulley. Welcome to the Age of Becoming. Today, I am delighted to be having a conversation with Stasia Savasuk.
Savasuk.
Savasuk. Savasuk.
Savasuk.
We did practice, and
we
knew that wasn't going to work.
It's a tricky name. It happens often. It's okay.
Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely.
And I came across your work through Tiffany Hahn, who is a coach who I've worked with for the last couple of years. And I remember her mentioning your style school and thinking, oh, that sounds like sort of fun. But the world is burning down, and I have revamping my business, and I just don't see that that's in my cards. But I was part of your newsletter list, and I would read your newsletters. I'm like, I really, really like the way Stasia talks about clothes. And in a lot of ways, it felt very reflective of the way I talk about movement. And so when your WOW workshop, which was Wear Our Word, came up and at the beginning of January, I have been practicing one word for over a decade. And I thought, this is a new way in and a way to experiment with this. So I had an extraordinary couple of weeks in the workshop, and I just wanted to have you come and talk about the things that we talked about in Wear Our Word, and in particular from the standpoint of women over 50. I think that there are so many messages that we get as women around our bodies, around clothes, around what's appropriate and who we're making uncomfortable and how comfortable we are. And I just wanted to have a conversation about that particular aspect. Yeah.
So, that's my favorite stuff to talk about. So yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm ready.
So let's start with where I started, which is the freaking world's burning down. There's a crisis everywhere.
Every day. Yeah.
There is injustice everywhere. The planet is melting. How is it that what we wear and how we wear it is important and something that matters, something that's worth doing?
So this is a question I get a lot. Like, style is so petty. It's so superficial. Like, the world's on fire. Why do I care which pants I'm wearing and all of that? And I hear that. And it's like, it's not like when you show up in the world, it's not really about the clothes, right? But the clothes can act as a damper to prevent us from showing up to do the shit we need to do to fix this broken world, right? Like, that's the essence of it. So I can look back at my own life, and when I hated my body, I was at war with my body, I'd look in the mirror it's so messed up. So even I can look back to my 20s and my 30s when I was, I'm 5'8", weighed 130 pounds, thin, tall-ish, white, privileged woman. I would look in the mirror and I would be like, ugh, disgusting. That was the word I would use to talk about my body, right? So I feel disgusting because I have cellulite on my thighs. It's been like my curse my whole life since I was a teenager. It's what I called it, my curse. And I would dress to hide whatever I could do to hide my thighs. So because I was so ashamed of my body, I was ashamed of the whole thing, right? Like, ashamed of my boobs were too small, my legs were too cellulite, my legs were short, my arms were too skinny, and then they're always something, right? But it was always about the hiding. I'm going to wear something to hide. When you have this energy, you have that energy. You can't hide and be like this both at the same time. I wanted to fly under the radar, be unnoticed, didn't want anybody looking at me because I was so gripped by shame. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust my body. I didn't trust my thoughts. I didn't just trust my decisions. I didn't trust my ability to go shopping. I did it because I would be desperate and nothing fit me. And so I would buy something because it was good enough. And then I would waste money and I'm so stupid. And how dare I, who do I think I am being able to spend money on myself when I don't even know how to shop and my body's bad anyway. So why bother? I should just not exist. Right? It was so, it can get real ugly in there. You know what I mean? It can get real ugly in there. And I have worked with thousands of women, predominantly the women I've worked with are usually around my age, because I think that's often what we attract, are the women that are around our age. And I started doing this work when I was 40. I'm 47 now. And the women I work with have been in their 40s or older. Right now, I'm working, so I have a membership program for my alum, and most of the women in there are 50, 60, 70s, right? So I work with, lots of, the span of the generations, and it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're doing this, it impacts the way you show up in the world. If you're doing this, you're likely caught in some kind of perfection, right? Mm-hmm. You are deep in the shame and blame. You don't trust yourself. You don't trust your intuition, right? Like everything's second guessed. We don't value ourselves. There's this sense of worthlessness, because in our culture, in our society, the women who are idealized are the ones that fit the current beauty standard, like the ones that are closest to that beauty standard, right? We have more privilege and more but even if you fit, there's always somebody that's prettier than you, thinner than, there's always somebody that has more than you. So you're still caught in the hustle, right? We're always caught in the hustle of either trying to get closer to the ideal. If only I could lose 5 pounds. Oh, if only I could get my body back. Like that makes me want to vomit. That whole sentiment is so broken. So we're always caught in this hustle. While we're caught in the hustle, we're being protective of our bodies because the society doesn't accept our bodies. And there's a magazine headline, there's your aunt who's at the beach and she's shaming somebody. There's shame all around us. We're swimming in it, whether it's our own or sort of like vicarious shame that we're seeing other people get shamed. And then we can turn into judgy assholes ourselves because that's the culture and we're fat phobic and like, it's all the things, right? So, and then you're wearing the clothes to hide your body because then the assumption is your body is wrong and your body is the problem. It's a little bit of a tightrope walk. I actually just wrote a newsletter about this today. It's a little bit of a tightrope walk. So to bring it back to the clothes, if you are running on the assumption that your body is a problem, you're going to hide your body and you're going to feel all kinds of shame and criticism and judgment, and it's messy, right? When you can learn how to wear clothes that fit your body, that support you, as opposed to like, if you're getting dressed to hide, then you are hiding. You're right. Then you're hiding. But if you can get dressed in clothes that are just like, like that, just like fit your body because you understand your body's geometry. And then you're like, oh, so it's no wonder skirts don't ever work in me and they shimmy and then they turn and then they're up under my boobs and my butt cheeks are hanging out. Like, oh, that's like physics because my shape is like this. And it's going to go up to the path of least resistance. So I'm better off in dresses. That makes sense. Or no wonder low-rise jeans don't work for me. My rise is actually 11 inches long. Nobody's rise is actually an inch. You know what I mean? I don't want to say nobody, but like a very small percentage of the population. So once you collect your body's data, you understand your shape, and you can start, and we all have, and so here's what's interesting. Depending on your shape, you tend to have, the shame we carry is very, it matches up with your shape. So if you're
Sure.
shaped like this, you have hip shame. If you're shaped like this, you have shoulder boob shame. If you're shaped like this, you have belly shame. If it like, it's all, and it's funny because people come in, they're like, no, you don't understand my shame. And I'm like, no, everybody that has a triangle shape understands the shame because you all have the same shape, because it's been societally programmed into your brain, right? So then if we can work with balance, we can say, yes, your hips are larger than your torso, but if we pump up the volume visually on your torso, then we can bring you visually into balance so that you can look at your whole self in the mirror and you can see that your body's actually not a problem, right? So from that space, as we're learning to understand our bodies, dress our bodies and be like, oh, my body's actually not the problem. The darts don't work simply because I'm long from here to here. This silhouette doesn't work because I'm short from here to here, right? So once you start figuring that stuff out, you can start wearing clothes that work with your body. All of a sudden you stop hating your body because you realize your body's not the problem. It's the damn clothes, and nobody ever taught us how to get dressed. What? Right? Like
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense.
Oh, well,
And-
they did teach us.
Well,
They taught us a bunch of rules that
they scared the crap out of us with like, here's the right color. If you wear the wrong color,
that's right.
Fashion police are going to get you. Right?
Yes.
So like the whole color systems, all of that stuff. I know people love getting their colors done. I'm just like, or you could just trust yourself. What makes you feel good? Like we can just go back to real basics, right? And we have to have systems like that because we don't trust ourselves to say, this makes me feel good. And that's good for me. Right? It's because we second guess and we question, that we look to others to tell us what to wear. What colors can I wear? Right? So we do this basic silhouette stuff while we're figuring that basic stuff out. So we know we look good. So then we're like, okay, people are going to compliment me. So I know I'm in the right track here. Then as we're doing that, then we do the work of actively learning to love our bodies. Right? So it's this like, we look good to feel good long enough so we can flip the script so we can feel good to look good. And then we say, then this whole like thing, like in the beginning, it's often like flattering is something we seek because it means we're socially acceptable and it means we're thinner, longer, stronger than we think that we are, right? Like we're getting closer to that ideal. And then there comes a point when you love yourself so damn much that you're like, I don't care if my hips look big. It doesn't friggin' matter. I have a good body that does good body things, right? But it's like, you can't get there until you can kind of get over yourself a little bit and get through the part where you realize your body's not the problem and the clothing diet industry has, messed with your brain. So you got to kind of work the system a little bit so that you can tear it to shreds, essentially. Right? So then you do all that, and not to cut you off, but I haven't actually answered the question yet. So I'm getting there. So
take your time. This is all good.
Built up. So, and then I'll for a second, but once you do all that and then you're wearing clothes and then you're feeling good in your body, then you're like this, right? And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. This system is really, actually, it's kind of racist, kind of ageist, it's kind of classist, it's kind of ableist. And you start to realize the shit that makes up these systems that actually keeps us oppressed as a humanity. So if we want, because if I said to you, and this was something that I did in the WOW workshop when I was like, really, you don't think the clothes make you feel anything? And I showed that picture of Lizzo in her hot pink pleather outfit and said, wear that to the grocery store. Right? Oh yeah. See, that gives you a feeling, right? Like, whoo, right? So the clothes, they make us feel something. And if we stretch our limits a little bit and I say, wear this today, try this, imagine this, get dressed to this, try this, stuff's going to come up for you. I can't wear that. What will people think? I don't know. Does this work on me? What does my butt look like? Does this make me look fat? Use all those questions and you start going, oh my word, that's the shit that's running the show. Yeah. These are the beliefs that this is the stuff I actually believe. These are my core beliefs. And I didn't even know it. Yeah. And those beliefs that we don't even know that are driving our thoughts, right? That are impacting our actions are sitting in the driver's seat and they're just like, woohoo, nobody's questioning me. Nobody's bothering me. I'm just going to take off and, drive down to Sunset Lane and put you in a bathing suit from your neck to your knees.
Or all navy blue all the time.
Something like that. Right. And so this whole thing where it's like the clothes are petty and superficial, it's like, that's also part of the training. That's also part of the training to say you shouldn't care about that, because the second you realize you are worthy of feeling good in your today body, it's game over for the industry. If every woman that we know within our 6 degrees of separation were like, fuck this, the diet industry would crumble. The anti-wrinkle, anti-aging system would crumble. We could drop entire industries to their knees. Capitalism would fall apart if women dared to get dressed in clothes that made them feel good, not because of what somebody else said that they should wear, but because they loved themselves enough to show up in a way that was authentic to who they are. So is it the wrong thing to do right now? No, it is the right thing because it's how we topple the system. Right?
Hallelujah. Yes. And this, yes. I mean, and this is exactly what we talk about in regards to movement. And I intentionally call it movement rather than dance or exercise, because there's so much baggage attached to that. Yeah. So many stories, so much shame, so many negative, traumatic experiences, totally. Which we also have had with polka dots, as you pointed out, and oh no, you don't wear stripes, no, horizontal stripes, no, or brown and black, do not, no,
silver and gold, can't mix
silver and gold, can't do that. So that was totally my experience, is that I was going in with like, oh yeah, this is going to be fun, and then, oh my gosh, what is running the show? It's fascinating and really revelatory. Like, oh, I had no idea that this was happening. I also just wanted to mention, I love what you're talking about the hierarchy, the constant hustle, that Sonya Renee Taylor, in her book, Radical Self-Love, is what it's about. Her book is The Body's Not an Apology, but she talks about this hierarchy, and that everybody is on there. And the thing is to kick the ladder out, and to not even to be like body neutral. It's just like body love. And that
there's a huge body neutrality movement right now. And I'm like, I don't buy it.
No.
I have one body for my whole life. What?
Yeah, no. I know, right.
It doesn't even make sense to me. And it's like, well, it's too big of a jump. And it was like,
yeah, I'm not down with that. I'm not down with that. Yeah, I know, like going through your life sort of meh about this incredible thing that you get to live in. And so, yeah, we definitely play with that a lot in movement in the same kind of way. And so as you're talking, you have mentioned the term style activism, and I'd love to hear you talk about it, but it feels like you already are talking about it. It's like, how we show up in our own skin, how we show up in how we present ourselves to ourselves and to the world is how we show up to the world burning down. This isn't the way to break down the system. But tell me more about how you talk about style activism.
So like this whole style activism is brand new to me. And so it was funny because for a long time, I've been teaching style school for years, and it's always been like, what am I, a style coach, like fashion, but I don't like the word fashion. I'm allergic to it. It gives me the hives. And like stuff, like I just haven't known, like personal stylist, gross, like that's not what I am. Like that's not congruent, right? So I was talking with, I don't know if you know Karen Walrond. She wrote the book, The Lightmakers Manifesto. It just came out recently. She was on Brene Brown's podcast. She did style school. And she had called me and said, just want to let you know, I just submitted another book proposal and you're in it. And I was like, I am. She was like, yeah, because it's about aging and ageism. And so she's in her 50s and she was like, I want to age differently than the way society says I'm allowed to age as a woman. And so I'm going to talk about, there's going to be a chapter on style. And so I introduced you as, Stasia Savasuk, style activist. And I was like, what? She was like, what did I say? And I was like, you said style with an A word after it. And I don't get it. And she was like, activism? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And she was like, what do you think you do? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, you're an activist. And I was like, no, I'm not. And she's like, Stasia, you run a program called The Revolution. And it's a little play on words. So it's revel, REVELYOU. So it's reveling in your own damn self, right? Like it's a revolutionary act to revel in your own damn self. So we call it The Revolution. It's my membership program. And she was like, you run something called The Revolution and you talk about taking down the page. You don't think you're an activist? I was like, I don't know. It makes me kind of, and so actually, because I've been keeping this at my desk, she sent me her book and she wrote, it's upside down for you, but Stasia Savasuk, style activist.
Love
so
it.
I just keep looking at it like, whoo, yep, there it is.
Yeah.
This is like my thing that I keep right with me at my desk.
I love it.
So it was one of those things where it was like this girlfriend knew me better than I knew myself, where she finally gave me a name for something that I hadn't been able to name. Because when I teach style, I'm not like, your body is shaped like an apple, so you're going to do this to hide your middle and make it like, I don't do that stuff. I don't say, well, you have warm undertones, so you're only allowed to wear blah, 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 blah. I'm going to do your cut. I don't do that. I'll be like, yeah, we can talk about if your undertones are warm or cool, just because it's kind of cool to figure that out. And like, we'll play with it a little bit, but you can't make a mistake. They're colors.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really, the way we talk about it. I remember, I don't know if you or anybody who's watching has ever been like, I don't know if I can wear this color. Oh man, like I can't, I don't know if I can wear this. And so you put it back because you don't know if you can wear it. Like I've done that, right? Before I was like, do I like this color? Yeah. I freaking love it. It makes me feel like sunshine.
Right.
How about asking that question instead?
Right.
Can I wear this? Does this work for me? Can I get away with it? Is this flattering? Those are all questions designed to keep us in line.
Yes.
No agency, no intuition, no self-sovereignty. It's all, you tell me what to do. I will follow the rules. Take
Right.
my voice, take my power, my worthiness.
Because it's some kind of safety.
Hand.
It's some kind of safety, and it's not, and it's absolutely not.
Well, it's not safe. I mean, it's safe in that it protects our nervous system. It gives our nervous system this sense and this idea that it won't be challenged because we're staying within the parameters of what's allowed, right?
Right.
And it kills us in the meantime.
Right.
So safe, sure. But you also lose all sense of vitality and trust in yourself and compassion and tenderness and all of the amazing things. Like you shut it down, but you shut everything down.
Right. It's not an a la carte menu. You don't get to be like, I get to, yeah, right. It is short-term safe, not long-term safe. Long-term, it's corrosive and toxic and kills us, as you say. And
it makes sense that we do it, right? Because the system is designed to scare the shit out of us. You know what I mean? And so what we have to do is we have to be able to, we have to learn the skills to one, regulate your nervous system. You have to learn how to regulate your nervous system, right? Which movement is a beautiful way to regulate your nervous system, get the yayas out, integrate all that, integrate and metabolize all that stuff that comes up, right? And also to, as the process of doing that, it's like flexing your brave muscle, doing little brave things outside the parameters every day that you're like, okay, that was actually okay. Nothing bad happened. You build your strength and your capacity to do more. It's how we build resilience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like my work. And we did this in WOW just for the 2 weeks where I was like, okay, we're all yellow today. And you're like, yellow.
Right.
Just try it. It's yellow. It's a color. Just try. And then you wear yellow and you're like, oh, the world didn't burn down. Like I didn't get in a car crash because I wore yellow. Nobody threw like eggs at me. Right. And so you've built up a little more capacity in your system to step outside the lines. Right. So much of my work is throwing out these little, in the scheme of things, they're little. Wear yellow, right? Wear blue, wear 5 different blues at the same time. In the scale of it's like, it's pretty small potatoes. But when we can do these little things and practice stepping out of line and being like, okay, I'm okay. Nothing fell apart. We build our capacity, we build our strength, and we get stronger and stronger and stronger. We learn to trust ourselves more. When we trust ourselves, we can hear our intuition, right? Soul fire starts to move. We start getting ideas, right? We start getting like all like powerful and strong, which is exactly what the patriarchy doesn't want us to do, right?
Totally.
And so it's the way, it's like, it's a whole lot of freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is what it is, but it's a practice. It's not something that, so one of the jokes, cause in style school or in my membership, people are like, okay, but when am I going to be done? Like, can I just like, you don't get healed by Friday. It's not like 5 weeks and you're done, 2 weeks and you're healed. Like this is lifelong work. As soon as you like, then the world's going to throw another challenge at you and you're gonna have to build more capacity. Right.
Absolutely.
And then you're like, whoa, I did it. And then it's like, whoo, damn it, back to where I started. Yeah. Except it's another growth ring, right? So this is like, I'm always sending these stickers to gals, just like the growth rings. Like this is life. It's one growth ring after another.
Sure.
Same tree.
Yep.
Nothing. We're still in the same spot, but like things are shifting and changing.
Yeah. And it's so much it's the same with movement too, is that it's a practice. It's not like, okay, you're fit, you're done. No. This is about an ongoing relationship with your body and yourself. And it's so interesting going into movement environments. Very often people are so used to being told exactly what to do that when I say move your hips in a way that feels good, a lot of people will freeze and be, it's like asking them to wear yellow. Are you kidding me? Like, what does that even mean? And will I get in trouble? And like, am I not following the directions? And, I'm a firstborn. I totally get that. And it was one of the things that really struck me during the workshop was, I had to really discern. I'm somebody, I know myself and my intuition's pretty good, but I had to really pay attention to the difference between what is it that doesn't feel right and what is it do I feel like I'm breaking the rules and not doing it right. Yeah. And so, so this, it's so, I love how related it is. It's so key. And I just want to say to anybody who's listening, I will get the name and the author of the book that you just mentioned, and I will put it in the notes so people can find that, because that sounds like something that people in Age of Becoming, it's right in alignment, since we're looking at that exact thing about how do we look at midlife differently than we've been told and taught our whole lives to look at it. Which leads me to my next question for you, Ms. Stasia. Yes. So one of the things that you talk about, and if anybody who's listening hasn't seen your TED Talk, please get your hankies
It's a tearjerker, isn't
It's a
it?
tearjerker. I wasn't ready for it. I was like, she's going to talk about clothes. And I was like, yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but just watch it. But one of the things that you talk about in your TED Talk and you talk about in your work is inside out congruence. This alignment between who we are on the inside and how we present on the outside. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was one of the parts of midlife is that so much is changing, that some people call it a second puberty, that there are like hormonal changes. Our bodies are changing, but our lives are changing too. Our families are shifting, kids are going off to their lives, parents are aging, jobs are ending or changing. And, COVID also threw a whole other layer of things into that. So I wanted to talk about inside out congruence with the idea of women in midlife. And can we go both ways, right? Can we be like, I don't even know, like, is lace something? Like, I bought this lace top. It's like, do I do lace? I don't even know. Let's see. How do you talk about that and look at that when the ground underneath us may feel like it's shifting?
Mm-hmm. That's such a beautiful question. And the thing I think that's also interesting about this is that I hear the same question from every age group.
Really?
How do I do this when I'm in my 20s and I don't really know who I am yet, and I'm just starting to figure it out, and I'm thinking maybe I want to settle into a relationship, but I'm not sure. 30s, I want to have children, but I don't know, and it turns my whole life upside down. So I went from being this to being this. 40s, now my kids are in their teens and I'm parenting teenagers and I don't know what's going on. 50. So it's this, so not to minimize, but also life is dynamic. And we are dynamic women, right? So if we are going to keep up with ourselves, we have to be willing to reassess, not every decade, not every year, every freaking day. Right?
Yeah.
And so because I mean, one of the ways I would think about it is when I talk about inside out congruency, when I talk about the insides, I'm not talking, and this is like, I feel like I'm moving into a line from my TED Talk. I'm not talking about our roles, our jobs, our, you know what I mean? Like, not the stuff that happens to us, not the things we're responsible for, not the stuff. I'm talking about that ball of fire inside it all, right? And when I used the quote in my TED Talk, I used it in WOW, that quote from John O'Donohue, where we have to go to that place inside us that's never been wounded, where there's a stillness and a sureness inside of us. That's what I'm talking about, right? It's this soul fire. But the soul fire is the soul fire, right? But the way that it presents itself is going to be shifted depending on the layer through which it's coming through, like the lens, right? So you've got your 20-year-old lens, your 30-year-old lens, your 40-year-old lens, so those lenses are going to change, right? When they're coming to like big life things. And then within the big lens, there's like 7,000 other mini lenses that we're going to have to navigate, because we're humans and that's normal, right? And so this morning, for example, I went to get dressed and I put the sweater on and I put it on with the sweater and I was like, and I put it on with something I've worn before, combo, whole thing, worn it pretty much before. I always change my jewelry up a little bit. And I was like, I feel 95 years old. Like I just feel that's a little bit ageist. See, sometimes I say things that aren't even appropriate, right? I catch myself too. I go, but I felt, and so I'll say something different. Isn't it funny how we just say things and we're like, oh man, there it is. This is how insidious it is and how we're swimming in it all the time. So here I am to talk about ageism, and I dropped an ageism bomb right on us.
It's all right. It's illustrative.
And I'm a human who's like unpacking this shit every single day along with everybody else. So I'm calling myself on it. I heard it. Okay. So if I felt uninspired, And this was something that I put on 3 weeks ago that made me feel like $1,000,000. How is it possible that something that I wore, the jeans, the shirt, the sweater, that made me go, oh, there she is. 3 weeks ago, I put it on today and I went, ugh, this does not feel good. Right? So I literally put on like, how many shirts did I put on this morning before I found this one? 8. Put it on, took it off, put it on, took it off. But it's not like it takes me a long time. 5 seconds, put it on. Nope, not feeling it, because I'm connected. I know what the soul fire feels like, right? It's like, oh, that ain't it. I'm not going to make something, I'm not going to force something that's not where people get, and they're like, oh, but it takes so long. And it's like, because you were trying to make something work that wasn't working. You just got to move on quick, right? And that's something that comes with practice. So I put it on, I was like, flat, not what I took it off, put it on. So 5 minutes, I landed on this. It was like, okay, this feels good. Now I need to accessorize. 3 different earrings. Boop, nope, these are the ones, right? And then necklaces. And I was like, oh, they need to not match. So it's like brass, steel, silver, and pink quartz. What? With beaded fringy earrings. Like, that doesn't make sense. And it's
yes, it does.
right? Because it gave me the feels, like a little irreverent, a little like just a little sassy, a little like I am my own person. And I love my quartz. Like, I want to be a little soft, a little, but I also want to be a little today with a little right? So like, we can be dynamic and we can connect to whatever it is that we need to connect with. So I want to be playful, tough, and like spiritual. I can do all 3 things, and they don't make any sense, except it feels good to me.
Right.
And then if I went to put this on tomorrow, I'd be like, yeah, no, all wrong. I need my feather earrings, my orange sweater, my purple necklace. Like, I would need something completely different. So it's just being willing. And this kind of comes up against our training a little bit. It's being willing to say, this worked for me yesterday. It's not working for me today. I need something different. I'm going to trust that. I'm going to go with it and not get caught up in the story. I can't do this. Who do I think I am? I thought I had this shit figured out. What's wrong with me? I can't make a decision. That's where we tend to go. So then we put on our I give up clothes. Yeah. And do we all know what the I give up clothes are?
I absolutely know exactly
what
those are. Yes. Yes. That's what I've worn 1,000 times before. One of the things you said in the workshop was that you've never worn anything, an outfit twice. And I was like, gauntlet thrown down. I'm like, Susan, all right, I'm gonna embrace that. And it's fascinating. And I think that one of the things that comes up when you're talking about this way is like, I have thought in the past, like when developing my style, it's like, it's very rigid. And what I have loved about playing with things from your perspective is that it is not rigid. And it's like, oh,
unless you're not, you're a human. How can you put a rigid system on a fluid, dynamic, ever-changing, feeling human being?
Right.
It's not gonna work.
Right. So, hey, that poncho, that is a cool poncho, but what happens if you turned it inside out? And I was like, what? It was so weird. It was like, I had this idea and I thought you were sitting right on my shoulder, Stasia. You were just sitting there going, hell yeah, you're going to turn it inside out. I did. And it was like, oh yeah, see, now this works. I liked it the other way yesterday. Today, this works. And so, yeah, I love this, this recognition that it doesn't matter how old we are. We're all feeling like the sand is shifting underneath us and we don't know what the hell's going on. And we don't really, I would also add to what you say is like, there's also a lot of expectation around each of those time periods, right? You know, like I know that when I was in my 20s, I was supposed to be getting married And when I was in my 30s, I was supposed to be having kids and, all of this stuff. I was supposed to be having a certain kind of job and doing all these things. And I made some choices that were in alignment with the expectations of me. And rarely did those go well.
Amen.
I did that. I was like, oh, I'm 25. I'm supposed to be doing that. And that didn't go well. Right.
Yeah.
And so, I appreciate that you saying, oh yes, like patting our 50 plus heads and saying, yes, you think you're special.
I mean, and I hope I didn't come across as
No.
that's not what I mean, because it is, but you know what I mean? It's like in the 20s, you have to stay thin. In your 30s, you have to bounce back. In 40s, you have to have a retirement account, right? Or now you're facing the like, don't let yourself go. And then 50s, it's the menopause, right? It's and then I got this belly and I'm working like hell to make it go away. And it was like, that's like part of menopause. It's not supposed to go away.
Yeah.
That's like, you're trying to fight biology. Good luck, right?
Yeah.
Like, do some women get the belly and then work like hell to make it go away? Yes. And they're gonna have to stay working like hell to make it go away. Or maybe it just goes away because there are 7 gazillion. Well, how many people on the planet? 8 billion? There's 8 billion ways to have a body.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There is no standard except for the one little drop that somebody grabs and says, now this is the standard, even though it applies to like 4 people out of the 8 billion. Right. And that's what we hustle to find, to, measure ourselves up against. And so I get it. And I'm in my 47, that's my late 40s now, right? I think so. Like mid to late 40s. I'm there, and I've got little kids. Like I had my son at 40. So I was like 38, 39. So I didn't bounce back. You don't have a baby at 40 and bounce back. Right? Like things don't bounce anymore. Right. So that was an interesting thing. Cause my body shifted back after my first kid, because there's a 6-year spread between my kids. Right. So anyway, but now my body's starting to shift. I'm sleeping like shit. My periods are wonky, and I'll have like 10 years worth of periods in 5 minutes. I'm like, what is happening to me? Right. And I'm like, I have to I live in Vermont, and you live in the Northeast too, right?
I don't now, but I'm in Virginia now, but I did live in, I grew up in the Northeast. I was a New England girl, born and raised. So yeah.
Born and raised. Yeah. So it's like 0 and I'm sleeping. I flip upside down in the bed, fling the window open, and I'm like, my husband's like, I'm freezing over here. Off, So I was like, yeah, things are shifting. And I'm like reading like the menopause what do I have? The menopause manifesto. So have you read that?
I haven't read it yet. It's on my list. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got the book. I've started reading it, and then I got pulled in, I'm like, sometimes I try to read too many books at once. So I was like, I got to get myself educated here on the menopause, because it's coming for me, and nobody talks about it. But I know, because I work with women and I see their naked bodies. Because sometimes once you get comfortable in your body, just in the Revolution today, we're actually doing a movement week. We're dancing this week, which has been great. And some of the gals are like, I like to dance in my bra and panties. So they're like videoing themselves, just like, woo!
Oh, hell yeah.
It's so good. I cry, because I was like, this is what we all need. We need to see women in their bodies just being like, right? Just like loving the skin they're in. This is what my body is for. It's for moving. It's for feeling the rhythm. It's for swaying, or whatever it is that I can do, because I can't do everything. I've tried to twerk. I don't know. I can't seem to get it. I'm all kind of lopsided, like crooked on it or something, but I can do other things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just kind of like figuring it out, and we have to go through this proper grieving sometimes of letting go of your yesterday body to embrace your today body. And so that's probably language you've heard me use, is talking about your today body. And that's something that's going to maybe change tomorrow.
Sure.
Right. And we have to be adept, like Aikido masters, at really letting, like, oh, there's that wave of grief. Like, I really miss my flat belly. Because why? Because of the privilege that was associated with being a woman with a flat belly.
Yeah.
Right. And it sucks to lose that. It sucks when you're on the cusp. I'm not there, so I'm still enjoying the privilege of being a thin, white, cisgendered, blah, 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 blah woman, right? So I can go into the store and they have pants that fit me. Well, actually they don't. I have one pair of jeans because pants don't fit me anyway. And I'm like a size 8. It doesn't even matter. I still can't find pants that fit my body. But you know, when your body shifts and all of a sudden the stores that you shopped at, you're like, you maxed out of their sizes. That doesn't feel good.
No. Yeah.
We have to acknowledge that. We have to acknowledge that the system is broken. And we have to acknowledge what that feels like for us. And then we go, oh, so while I was celebrating my flat belly, I was upholding the system that only catered to people with bodies like mine. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're complicit. Right. And that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And when I say to people, you are complicit in upholding a racist system, a patriarchal system, and they're like, no, I'm not. And I was like, yeah, you are, because we all are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we're not, we all are. And that's when then you're like, so if you have those moments, that's your moment to say, there's another way to be. I can continue operating in this paradigm, or I can kind of start climbing my way out of it and being like, actually, I don't want to participate in this, but I do want my pants to fit. So will you please help me figure out how to get my pants to fit? Because that's going to make me feel good. And then, but I'm going to start practicing to love my body as it is. But I also want to know how to dress my body, because that's going to make me feel good in the short term until I can learn to love it in the long term. Yeah. Figuring out what to put on your body so it works your proportions, easy. Learning to love your body for being a body, hard.
Yeah. And unwinding yourself from the system, hard.
Yeah, hard. So we can do the easy work of getting like the quick love, like put these pants, move this, tuck your shirt, up your sleeves. We can work your proportion, add a scarf, bring in a little balance. We can do that easy. Super easy. That's like, I can do that in my sleep. I'm so that's one of the things I'm good at, science brain. So I'm good at you know what I mean? Like shifting things around and making it work, like the data part. And then that's easy. I can teach that in my sleep, but then the practice is really learning to love your today body for what your body can do for you, because it is not an ornament. It is like this instrument of living and loving. And right? Like that's a huge, and we can get it intellectually. It is a whole nother ball game to get that right down deep inside your bones.
Yes.
Right.
To embody that. Yeah.
To embody it, to go get dressed and to put on the thing that you want to wear, and then listen to the shit show that happens inside your brain. Woo! Right. And then to be able to be like, oh, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that. Oh yeah. My belly's not the same as it used to be. That's really hard. I have to grieve that a little bit. And then I was complicit in upholding that system. Ooh, yeah, that doesn't feel good either. But you know what? I only knew what I knew when I knew it. Now I have a responsibility to undo it. I'm going to take that. I'm going to do that now.
Yeah.
For the generations that come after me. Like that's my responsibility now. And it's hard and I'm going to do it. And then, but who do you think you are to be able to change the system? Oh yeah. And then it's like next thing, the next thing. And it's all learning to be able to sit in that, to I'm always like, yeah, that's hard. That doesn't feel good. Oh yeah. Oh, Stasia. Oh, you sweet girl.
Yeah.
God, I love you so much. You're so adorable though, and how messy you are, so much of the work that I do with women, it's like, okay, what I need you to do right now is I need you to hold your face and look in the mirror and just look into your own eyes and just be with yourself for just one whole minute, because that's what you need right now. This is hard work. And also, let's wear 3 patterns at the same time, because that's going to be a blast, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to do like the super fun, far out things because they're fun. But then, of course, whoosh, all the chitter chatter is going to come up, and then you have to navigate that, and then you have to be tender, and then you're going to kind of get over it. And I'm going to be like, and today you're going to wear all the colors of the rainbow, Roy G. Biv, whole damn thing. I just did this with one of my groups, and they were like, it was so funny in Facebook. They were like, I read your newsletter, and I was like, Stasia can go to hell today. Like,
he's talking trash. I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I don't have anything to, and then they were like, and then I decided to try, right? And they were like, look at this amazing outfit I put together that I would have never put together if it wasn't for that stupid invitation.
Totally love that.
I love it. I love the best sign is when people are like, I can't believe you dared. Who the hell do you think you are asking me to? And I was
to like, wear a bunch of necklaces at the same time. What kind of trash are you talking, woman?
We did a 17 necklace challenge. I'm like, we're not going to do 3. Let's go for 17. So people are putting like Christmas ornaments around their neck, whatever it takes. I just want 17 things around your neck, and then take them off till it feels comfortable. And it's like, actually, I was comfortable with 7. Oh, interesting. If I would have said wear 7 necklaces, would you have done it? Not a chance in hell.
No.
That's why I said 17.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot.
Genius.
Yeah. I'm pretty clever with these things, and I've done so many. So I do these for WOW, right? You got your daily invitation in the email with a pep talk, right? Because you need a little, and then and then I nailed pretty much all the objections. I'm like, you're going to do this. And then I was like, this is what people are going to say. Can't because. I'm like, you can because. So I hit all the objections in the emails usually. And so then I write them, there's 5 weeks worth of those for Style School. And then I write one 5 days a week for the Revolution. So I've written hundreds of them. So I've gotten really, I was talking about this with a girlfriend. She was like, I don't know how you do those because they're good. And I was like, well, when you do this work a lot, you learn what are the things that are going to push them just over the edge so they can come on back to that place, which you can piss them off a little bit, but this is how we build that resilience, right? By stretching a little bit, but doing it and I'm not like, go do something horrible to yourself, right? And it's like, I want you to wear 3 different medals today, but I can't wear silver and gold together at the same time.
Yes, I know.
Let's try, so it's these little tiny things that are like, you always feel a little like mysterious and like nobody's going to know I'm doing this secret challenge right now. And
mischievous, right? Mischievous.
Yeah, a little mischievous, a little mysterious. It's super fun. Yeah. So anyway.
So I know we're running out of time, and I could talk to you, sister, for a long time. But so Style School is starting soon. Tell us, I will certainly put links to that as well, of course, because I'm in and I want some of my peeps in. Very excited.
Can you imagine how fun that'll be for you with some of like your Style School community? Because there's going to be a lot of WOW gals in there, so gals that you journeyed with, and then like when you have these people that get it, right, and they're just like committed to it, it's kind of next level.
Yeah, it really is. And I wanted to say that, that one of the things that really struck me was the range of people, all different ages, from all different parts of the world, and how great the community was, and how helpful it was to have people reminding us of the things that we forget, and people who are either older or younger than we. The community aspect was outstanding and super supportive and exciting to be part of. Mm-hmm. So Style School starts soon. It starts at the beginning of February.
February 7th.
February 7th, and that's 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. And full of all of the stuff that we've been talking about, the fun and the playful and the creativity and the being with all the stuff, all the crap that's going to come up, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we use our closet, we use style as a gateway to all this stuff, right? And so every week in Style School has a theme. Week 1 is soul fire, connecting to that place inside you that's never been wounded, right? We come up with a list of power words. There's all these exercises so you can unpack, stuff. There's an amazing, because you had the WOW workbook. There's one for Style School, and it is gold. It is so.
I just sent it to Staples to get
Did
it printed out.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I mean, like, you could just do the workbook. Just the workbook is like gold all by itself without everything else. It's so good. And then week 2, we do the body stuff. That's when we collect our body's data. And that's where, my feedback, if you have like, I can't get my balance right. And I'll be like, do this, do this, do this, do this, right? Like, that's where that easy part. And that's also the week where we start developing sort of like body love practices. So we take, Bell Hooks has a quote that I've quoted a number of times about love isn't just a feeling, love is an action. And so we have this weird thing where we're like, I'll love my body when, and so we're waiting for this feeling to like bite us in the ass or something, like we're going to buy it. It's going to come on sale at Target. I don't even know what we think, but love is, you have to show your body love to feel love. You want to feel love, then show love. Like that's actually how love works, right? You want to feel love, then you have to show love. You have to engage in love. So we do a body love practice, and that's something we continue throughout the course. And then week 3 is we experiment and we play with color and pattern, a little bit like we did in WOW. And then week 4, we do accessories. So we just accessories, necklines, shoes, like all of the extras. And we're really bringing in conversations about balance, like necklace length and why does this work and why doesn't this work? And this neckline is weird and how come blah, blah, blah. Like, so we talk about that. And then week 5 is like awesome because it's the week we curate our closets and we keep only what we love.
Right on.
Mm-hmm. So then you end up at the end of 5 weeks, you're like, oh, I can get dressed now because I don't have all this shit in my closet.
that's working against me. That makes me feel bad.
That makes me feel bad. You open your closet door. What do you feel? Guilt, shame, obligation. My mother bought this for me and I feel like I need to keep it.
Yes.
Those pants that don't fit me anymore since pre-COVID, but I'm going to keep them in there because they're going to encourage. No, they're not encouraging you. Stop it. That's not what those pants do.
That's not what they're doing. They're giving you,
get rid of all that stuff. Yes. So it's 5 weeks where we have a topic, but then it's like the work, like we color and pattern is intuition and trust, right? So it's like, here's what we're doing, but here's actually the work, but this is what we're going to use to tap us into that other stuff.
Genius.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah.
So exciting. Stasia, before I let you go, what have I not asked you? What have you not said that you would love to say to everyone who's listening?
I mean, the thing that it's just like, it's hard. It is hard being a woman in a woman's body and with the messages that we have coming at us all the time. And so if you like, the second you begin to think that your body is the problem, you're off track, right? That's part of your training. And I think that all of us need to be constantly reminding ourselves, my body's actually not the problem. You go into the Gap, you try on 5 pairs of pants, they don't fit. Oh no, my body's actually not the problem here, right? It's we're not taught perspective, like 8 billion people on the planet. Really, are those 5 jeans going to fit all of us? Because 40 of us in a room don't have the same body, right? So it's this huge adjustment of expectations. And also the last thing that I would say is just to like hit one of those objections, but I don't have the money to buy all new clothes. Susan, how do I buy all my clothes? Do you know?
Thriftorama.
Thrift?
Yes.
Orama.
I love it. Everything I'm wearing, everything that's on my body right now is thrifted. Love it.
Or like we have a hospice shop in town. So most of my beautiful things are from the Goodwill and they cost $5. I'm not talking consignment where you pay $27. Like I'm talking straight up $5 bin. You know what I mean?
Right on.
And it takes once you understand Soulfire, once you know which colors light you up, once you know the silhouettes that are actually going to fit your body, shopping becomes much easier. And you're willing to take risks like buying a lacy top when it doesn't cost $98.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And so thrifting is just, if you have $20 in your pocket and a pair of scissors, $20 and a pair of scissors, you can do style school after you pay, and you're going to save money after the cost of style school. You will save money within the year. And I mean, nobody has ever said, and usually what people do is they bring all their stuff to consignment and they take cash and they're like, I just made my style school tuition back by
Right.
bringing 50% of my closet to consignment that I don't like. That is because somebody else told me I should wear it. So between what you make back in consignment, $20 and a pair of scissors, you will revolutionize the way you show up in the world.
Oh, I love it. That's it right
There
there.
it is.
Stasia, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Susan.
What a joy to talk to you today. And I will post this up in Age of Becoming and also on my YouTube channel. And I will link all of your goodness to that. And I will trust that people can find you and ask whatever yeah buts they have.
I get an answer for it. I can tell you.
I know you do. I know you do. Oh, thank you, Sven.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.